Hi everyone, today on Simply Maha we are making these Middle Eastern sweet cheese puffs. They are called Warbat. They are a sweet creamy filling in puff pastry dunked in simple syrup, and as you can see, very decadent and super easy to do. As you can see, we're not going to be skimpy at all with the filling. The puff pastry bakes into separate layers and it's crunchy, creamy, amazing goodness. So without further ado, let's get started. So we're going to have a very similar filling to that of my coffee cake. If you didn't see that, go check it out. It's on my channel. So I have 1.5 cups of heavy cream. If you don't have heavy cream, because I ran out in this case, you can use table cream like the one you see here. Just make sure that it is the liquid kind and not the one that has the consistency of pudding. And now we are going to put the same amount in whole milk. You can use whole milk. I like adding cream because it makes it a lot richer. And now sugar. Now, we're not going to add a lot of sugar because remember, we are going to be dunking this in simple syrup. So only about 2 to 3 tablespoons and about half a cup of cornstarch. Now, you want to mix this before turning on your heat. That's important because if the milk heats up before it gets incorporated with the cornstarch, it's going to be very lumpy. And remember, we want this medium-low heat because we don't want anything to scorch. Just keep mixing that up until it thickens. As it heats up, it's going to get foamy and then turn into this luscious pudding-like consistency. Now you just want to transfer that to a pot and let it cool for a bit. And I want to show you how thick our mixture is going to be. Now, if it's any thinner than this, there's a big chance that it'll overfill and it'll spill from the sides of our turnovers that we're going to make. So having it this consistency is perfect. Just keep stirring it every now and then so that a skin doesn't form on the surface. And now on to our simple syrup. I have 2 cups of sugar and 1 cup of water. I'm going to keep on stirring them until the sugar dissolves into the water. And then I'm going to turn the heat to high and I'm going to wait until they come to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, like you see here, I'm going to add a squeeze of lemon juice and then turn the heat back down to low and just let that simmer until the simple syrup thickens, okay? Now, we want this simple syrup to be cool or at room temperature for this recipe. We do not want it hot. So get that ready and let it sit aside. This is what my simple syrup looks like. This is the consistency that you want, okay? And as it sits, it'll get a lot thicker. Now I have my puff pastry in front of me. I buy the ones that are already cut up. I have about 8 squares, but you can buy the full sheet and cut it up into squares. I also have a pan that's lined with wax paper, so I am all ready to go. Now, you want the puff pastry to thaw, but you don't want it super soft because we don't want the layers of butter in there to melt because then you won't get puffy layers. So, I'm now going to take a heaping tablespoon of my mixture, okay? You might think it's a lot, but it's not, okay? We are not stingy in here. And don't you worry, it won't melt to the sides because we have the consistency that is thick enough for it not to melt to the sides, but creamy enough so that it doesn't stay like this as it melts. And I'll just spread it a bit to the edges while having the majority in the center. Take it from the top and you want to close the 2 corners together. You don't want to seal up the sides, okay, because nothing's gonna spill over. So I decided to put a bit more. I'm sorry. I like to give, okay? I am a giver. If I can give you more, I will give you more, okay? I decided to put a bit more, and then, like I said, just worry about the corners sealing. It doesn't have to be edge to edge. This is meant to look rustic. It's not meant to look perfect because as you saw, it'll look perfect at the end no matter how you do it. Here I am just sealing up the corners and placing it on my sheet. Now I want to show you what happens if you start working with them too early. See this? I started using this when it wasn't thawed enough yet and you can see it broke. However, you can just easily go and stitch it right up with your fingers because they are warm and it's perfectly good to go. So I'm going to show you again how I'm gonna fill it, and I'll show you different ways of how you can fill it and how you can seal it up. So again, a monstrous spoon of our filling. And as you can see, as you start working with them, they will get warmer and warmer, so it'll be a lot easier to work with them. You see, I'm just going with my fingers all over the sides. You can do that as well. And then place it on the sheet again. Now, if you're having a hard time closing this, what you can do is put a little bit of filling, close the corners, and then you want to hold it up and put more filling on the sides. That's one way you can do it, and it'll just be easier. That's what I did here. Now, the third way you can close it is by actually holding it up like a taco and closing all the corners. And then you can just go back and spread all the edges, put more filling if you want. And that's it. That's really how simple it is. So this is how I have them placed. I'm going to give each one a pat, you know, just a farewell goodbye until they get baked off in the oven. And because I don't want them to rise way too much, and I'll show you what I do after they come up if any of the corners decide to unravel. And I just spray the top of them with a bit of non-cooking spray just to help it crisp up more. You don't need an egg wash. And now they are going to go into a 350-degree oven for about 50 minutes until they come out looking like this. Now I just gently close them just a bit while they're still warm, just so they can hold their shape. And now it's time for the simple syrup. I just take a ladle full and pour it over each one. And what I really love is that you can still see the filling as they're still closed. That's what I really like. Now, the simple syrup is going to give them such a nice gloss. It's also going to touch the filling inside. So you really don't need a lot of sugar in the filling. 2 to 3 tablespoons should be perfect. And also, this is why I like putting parchment paper, because I just throw it away and clean my tray. If that simple syrup were to solidify on your pan, it would be such a hassle to clean. And some of that simple syrup will actually touch the bottom of the puff pastry and create such a beautiful crust. So after I've done that, I just like poking my food. Okay, that's why I did that. But you're just going to put simple syrup on all of them. And now we are going to garnish them with some pistachios on the center like that. To all of them, put as little or as much as you want. Now, we are simple but not basic for a reason. In the future, I'm going to show you how to spice this up a bit. This is just the base recipe. I'll be showing you how to make Nutella Warbat. I'll be showing you how to make an almond cream, pistachio cream. Really get creative with this, okay? You can turn this into 100 more different recipe with more variations. So really be creative here. Here is what it looks like cut up. That cream held its shape perfectly, and look at how decadent it looks. This is perfect for when you have guests, because it looks like you put so much effort in it when it really, it's easy because the puff pastry is already there. You have it done and ready. All you need is the cream. You just make the cream, you let it cool for a bit, and baking this shouldn't take more than an hour. So ideal for guests, very decadent. And I want to show you the cream because it was more on the thick side, but as you can see, as it bakes, you can see how perfectly creamy and soft it is. And like I said, we were not skimpy with that filling, okay? You get a filling every bite, even though puff pastry is delicious. But listen, you're gonna get a bite of that filling every time you bite into this bad boy. So there it is. I really hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. If you did, please share it with your friends. Give me a thumbs up and let me know down in the comments what other desserts you would like to see here on Simply Maha, where we are simple but never basic. Don't forget to check out my socials down below, and I will see you next time.